It was roughly a year ago that photographer Jose Martinez and I spent 3 days aboard the USS Carl Vinson. We were supposed to do a story on F-35's first carrier landings, but when the F-35s didn't show up, we had to change our plan at sea. Shortly thereafter, we met Commander Sunshine Sinclair. Commander Brian Sunshine Sinclair was assigned to the Nimitz when the PBS documentary Carrier was made. He knows the butterflies firsthand.
The flight schedule, the list of who's going to fly when, comes out the day before, usually at dinner time, and it's usually at dinner time that I start to get the butterflies when I see my name assigned to a night flight.
So it's my great honor and distinction to introduce fighter, father, and friend, Commander Sinclair. Brian, thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you, Paul.
We've been talking about this conversation for a long time. It fits into the better late than never category, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
All right, so let's talk a little bit. First of all, we have a graphic here. These are just the bullet points that I remember from your program, from your retirement ceremony, which we'll get to. But that 589 carrier arrested landings, that's the one that jumps out at me. Do you remember those, like every Tony Gwynn remembered every at bat? Do you remember ever landing on a carrier?
I do. I specifically remember the first one, and I remember all of the night ones.
I bet you do. Let's go back to Friday, August 31st. I was fortunate enough to be on the guest list of one of the most unique retirement ceremonies.
Thank you.
Military or civilian, it's the way to go out. You literally flew off into the sunset. You are in that jet, correct?
Yes, sir. That is me driving.
I've never been at a ceremony that required ear protection. Did you have to pull a lot of strings to make this happen?
Yes. So thank Big Navy, Navair, for allowing that to happen, and my skipper.
It's a life-changing decision. You love flying.
I do, absolutely, and it's time to shift priorities.
Was it a hard? Were you counting down the days, or was this something they had to drag you out of the cockpit?
Tough decision, Paul. I've been flying for almost 20 years of the 25, and absolutely love it. But I have two beautiful little girls and a wife that are ready for me to be home. Safe
to say that you strapped in for the last time?
Yes, sir.
All right, so I know folks at home are wondering why the moniker Sunshine. You addressed it in your farewell address. We're going to play a little clip of it, and then I want you to take a listen.
Okay.
Call signs in the Navy are traditionally based on how badly someone screws something up, a play on a personality or an event, or sometimes it's just sophomoric whims of basically overgrown children, which would be fellow pilots. And they first started calling me Sunshine because I shy away from coffee in the morning, and I'm annoyingly perky first thing in the morning. So instead of the proverbial morning sunshine at my first squadron, I'd get shut up, sunshine, and it kind of stuck.
I mean, you have a bubbly personality, and now you're stuck with a name.
Absolutely.
There are worse, are there not?
Yeah, I can explain that story to my parents. Not all of them have PG-rated stories.
All right, very good. So in our conversations a year ago, we started talking about the fitness level required to fly a combat aircraft. Tell me the aha moment when you realized, okay, I'm smart enough to do this because there are a gazillion gadgets to pull and levers to watch. But what was the aha moment where, hey, I have to be an elite athlete to do this?
Probably in my training jet, the T-45, where we pulled 7.5 Gs. So right now, you and I are sitting at 1 G. So imagine 7.5 times that weight. So something called dogfighting, and where you have to turn your neck around and look for things at 7.5 Gs, and it's very difficult.
So, you know, you have the G suit with you right here. Explain, that helps, but you still have to make up for it with a lot of training, do you not? Yeah,
we have kind of a hook maneuver. So basically, I need to really work on my legs, my core, and I enjoy working the upper body. So a lot of squeezing. We got a video of you working out.
This is later in your career, but when you were getting ready for a deployment, how much physical training would you have to do?
I tried about an hour a day.
And, and working on just strictly core?
Sorry about that. It would be cardio, it would be core, legs, and then upper body.
All right, so you do have equipment that assists. You have the G-suit with you. Explain, you know, as planes get faster and more agile and they have to turn, you know, do the G, it seems like that's the same G-suit that was around 20 years ago. Or do the G-suits get better?
They do get a little better. Yeah, there's one now that covers more of my area, but basically what you got here is a ruggedized, I'm going to call it, series of balloons that I'll strap around my torso and my legs. And during those maneuvers, when the blood is pooling, i.e. being away from my brain, it'll help squeeze the blood back into my brain.
The ability to control breathing. Tiger Woods has to do it when he's over a putt. Michael Jordan had to do it when he was at the free throw line. Explain how the night carrier landing, first of all, what's your heart rate at?
It feels like twice. It feels like it's going to pop out of your chest, but it's elevated, I'll say that.
So can you just give us a little example of the breathing you have to do?
And I will, and then, yeah, basically it's almost twice the speed.
Okay, all right. So last December, we had a young man by the Nick Delalacqua. He was our Iron Hog winner, but shortly thereafter, he went to Indianapolis, followed in your footsteps.
Great school.
If he was sitting here right now, what would you give him as advice to a plebe?
Nick, the program is designed to stink. It's the first time you've ever realized that you're probably average amongst a bunch of stellar performers there across the nation. So persistence, persistence, persistence.
And I think he probably would appreciate that right now. We're running out of time. We're going to do this again, part 2, okay?
Perfect.
But our final question. If you're stranded on a desert island and your DVD player only plays one DVD,
okay,
would it be Top Gun or Officer and a Gentleman?
Oh, hands down, I have Top Gun memorized.
You're going to do line by line. But that scene in The Officer and a Gentleman where they fall in the water and flip over, is that a real drill?
The Dilbert Dunker, absolutely. Been there, done that.
And you'll never have to do it again.
You got it.
All right. Commander Sinclair, this was part 1 of what I hope is multiple conversations. Okay, because I overstacked. I apologize. All right, KUSI News at 6 p.m., folks. We're going to continue in the altitude. We're going to have competitive skydivers coming in a little bit. So high risk behavior continues here on the Sports Rail. Right now, I send it back to my esteemed colleagues.